Let's make this a little interesting. So I'm gonna play the mix for you. Before we get started with this, I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing. Is I'm gonna have you guys try to pick out the Bandit amongst the two amps that I'm playing here. So we got the Fireball, we got the Bugera, and the 5153. They're all pretty similar, so I want to see if people can actually pick out the good old Bandit out of the mix of this stuff. So go ahead and give it a guess. I'll mark A, B, C, or D, and then see which one is, the Bandit. Go ahead and write it in the comments and stuff. And after that I'll isolate the guitars, and maybe you can see it from there too. But I guess that would be a little bit fun, right? So give it a shot. Tell me what you think. So what did you guys think? Did you guys get it right, or did you get it wrong, or are you surprised at what the reveal was? I mean, that was pretty hard to kind of figure out if it was Bandit, the Solid State, or the Fireball, Bugera, or the 5153. I get it. It's not easy to figure that out. With that track, I used the same guitar, I used the same mics, the same position for the mics, same cab and everything. The only thing that changed was the amp itself. So I would just pull the amp off, put another amp on, and then dial it in the way that I would like that amp to sound. Now, yes, there could be some room for error there as far as using the dials to dial in each amp to sound the way that I want it to. I took that approach rather than trying to make them sound identical to each other. More of a context of how I would use them for each of the amps. But I'm pretty blown away by how this Bandit is holding up here. So let's actually go ahead and look at some of this stuff, right? Okay, so now we're at a point where we can actually start working with this. I have everything just kind of folded up into each of these amps. So what we have here is this is not a Lewitt. The first one is MD421 and the second one is SM57. But this is a template for from something else. But what you really just need to know is that this is the Bandit 5153 Bugera 6262 and the Fireball from Angle. We have our bass and our drum tracks down here. So we'll go through this and just kind of pick out and just play with each one of these now. So yeah, so right now that's just the bass and the drums right there, right? Let's just hear the Fireball first, since that was what the first one was on that track. So. Pretty sick sounding. Bugera. Which that one sounds a little darker. And I don't remember if I changed that up in any sort of way to make it darker. Anyways. I mean, that sounds pretty good. All these sound pretty good, actually. So let's go back to the Bandit. I mean, that's pretty solid, dude. Let's go back to the Bugera. Okay, Bandit. Man, that is hard to say. I mean, I like the Bandit more than the Bugera at the moment with this recording. So here's the 5153. Bandit. It just sounds like the solid state stuff, like everything is compressed up to a certain point and you get everything. Whereas tube stuff, it's definitely a lot more dynamic because I've really had to mess with the volume stuff because it was just jumping all over the place. With the solid state Bandit, it was pretty solid as far as it didn't jump too much from a threshold, where the tube stuff, the threshold was a lot higher. So something to keep in mind there, right? Bandit. I mean, that sounds pretty sick. The 5153 just has this like gut punching thing going on, and I love that. And let's listen to the Fireball. know, that sounds a lot like the 5153. Fireball's a little bit darker. With the Bugera being very dark. The Bandit just being like right up there, right up front. I mean, the Bandit is kicking butt, man. And I didn't put any slouches on this comparison here. You know, the Bugera does awesome in its own right. And of course we got the angled fireball. I mean, everyone loves that thing, right? And then we got the 5153, which is one of my favorites personally. I don't know, man. I have to say that the Fireball does have this aggression to it that I really dig. I mean, as far as clarity wise, I think the Bandit is on top of this, which is hard for me to say. I mean, I'm trying to go unbiased here because I'm just so, you know, biased to the 5153. I really love that amp. I think the 5153 comes in second, where the Fireball's third, and then the Bugera is fourth. And again, you know, I dialed this in without comparing, you know, the amps when I was doing it. I just set up another amp and I just kind of dialed it in to the way that I like the amp sounding compared to itself, using the EQ there. So, well, man, the Bandit was on the high gain mode, and it's really punching through. And we're talking in the context of a mix, okay? So, I mean, there's a lot of clarity in that Bandit right there, man. So, 5153. Sounds like it's a little scooped. You get the Fireball, where that just low end just punches. And then we got the Bugera. And it just sounds like it does have like a blanket over it. And granted, if I went back and said, oh, okay, I want more of this because I want it to sound like that, I could totally go back and push the presence, push the mids. I have to say that the Fireball, though, it was, I typically have to push it pretty dramatically as far as the presence and the mids to get it to come through a lot. And anyone who has an angled Fireball, you better be pushing the presence and the mids to get that nice clarity out of it. Because if you don't, you're going to be lost. You're going to be lost in the mix, and it's not going to sound good live. And I've heard it live a bunch of times, and that's everybody's gripe about it, is that it just gets lost. And it's very true. Especially if you have a second guitar player coming in and it's not a Mesa Boogie or something like that, because Mesa Boogies have that scoop mid stuff, and they're gonna blow you out the water, dude. Even though the Fireball sounds awesome, it's really big and punchy, it doesn't cut through, man. So make sure you push those mids. And I think that mid boost button, it pushes the low mids on it too. Definitely use that too, you know. I don't know, like the 5153 for me, I've always loved that amp. So it's sick. And then the Bugera, or not the Bugera, but the Bandit one more time. It does still have that like, muddy tendency like solid states usually have. Just doesn't have that sharp attack. But it's in a mix, it's cutting through, man. And that's really funny. So all you Bandit lovers out there, there's a reason why you guys are loving it. And I have to say that in the room, the Fireball is definitely the one to jam with. It just doesn't come through as well in a mix. But I'm just always been partial to the 5153. Just because it just sounds killer and it punches. And it has that little bit of mid scoop that I like. Hope you guys found this interesting. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and tell me what your thoughts are on this stuff, because this was pretty interesting. That was pretty fun. And I hope you guys like the song too. You know, I like just sitting down, throwing some drums on something, and then throwing guitar on top of it and see what comes out. And that's what I do. Anyways, that's it. DMD out.